3, 2. Juan, welcome to the next episode of the podcast. Colin McCann on the beat. Welcome to Happy Spook Season.
I don't. Oh, cut that.
What?
No, I'm just.
Oh.
Yeah. Speaking of spook season, I thought I'd start it off as a little treat, make it a little scary over here. I brought a knife. Right? Now it's scary.
How long did you have that in the chair
Yeah,
for?
I planned that. You said I was getting a podcast, so I put it in the couch. Ooh. I won't. Maybe I will.
Colin McCann, everybody. Yeah, it's spooky season.
Hell
October 3rd is when we're recording this. And holy shit, is summer fucking gone by the wayside?
Dude, what are you talking about? Summer's about to start.
Yeah. Yeah, summer's over. Summer's fucking
starting.
We Colin and I talk about that from a good bit. How if you're not the idea behind, I always say the phrase summer's over, and I'll say that in like February. I'll be like, "Oh, summer's over," meaning like, you know, time is flying by essentially. And it comes from this idea that people always talk about, like when you were in high school, or like, yeah, this summer I want to blah, blah, blah. This summer I want to blah, blah, blah. And my dad would always tell me, it'd be like January. I'd be like, Dad, this summer I want to like camp more. And he'd say like, oh, did that camera just shut off? No. He'd say like, oh, do you have anything planned? Do you have anything like on the books? And I'd say, well, no, but like I'm going to do it in the summer. And he'd be like, well, then you're not going to do it. And the idea is like, if you haven't planned whatever you want to do, but before summer starts, by the time you get around to it, summer's going to be over. Like
I remember you started saying that when, like, the first time I can like keenly remember that is when we were planning our out west trip, and you were telling your dad, it's like, well, do you have your places? Do you have this? And you're like, no. And it's like, you're not going on this trip.
Yeah,
and that was like see the panic. I remember it was like you, Andrew, and Ryan at the bar, and I think you guys were just like drunkenly sat down and like planned everything out.
Yeah, the first time we ever drove across the country it's a really cool story. So we were like, obviously you talk about like, this 14 like go across the country, whatever. Just kids trying to do whatever. And then one night we were, like Colin said, at the bars, and we were walking home, and in a drunken stupor, we're just like, we should actually do it. And I was like, fuck you, we're fucking doing it. And so
go birds.
Go birds. And then we just kind of set a date, and we set in that night, and we were like really drunk. We're like, okay, whatever it was. I think it was like my birthday or something like that. No. My birthday was going to be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we said like August 1st, we're leaving. Like we're going to figure out what we're going to do. But August 1st, we're going to start driving west, and we'll just go and we'll figure the rest out. And we ended up doing a 2-week camping trip in like Colorado and Utah. And that's the way to do it. Set the date, figure out the rest later if you ever really want to get something done. But
that trip,
it was really cool. I was starting to feel pretty nostalgic for like, you know, the fall on the East Coast is always like...
Dude, this is my first time not experiencing it. Even though we've been here for 2 years, I went home from Maine last year, and like Maine, you really see the leaves change, and like you're just in the depths of it, and you're just... There's something about it where like you feel that last day of September, and you're like, ooh, like...
Yeah.
I need to... we're changing clothes now. Like, it's different.
There's definitely there's a hard stop, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh.
It's not like there's very rarely like, oh, it's getting a little cooler. It's getting a little cooler. It's like 80, 90 degrees. And then the next week you're like, ooh, sweater weather. There might be like a 2-3 day change, but it's just like, boom, you get right into it.
Yeah.
And the second, like I felt it the other day when I was walking the dog, like I was like a little bit chilly, and the sun was at that point, like it's not setting. It's like right before the sunset. It's like a little bit before golden hour even.
Yeah.
Like it's just a little bit down. And I mean, it just feels like fucking the most palpable feeling for me with the fall is always thinking about like high school. For some reason, I think it's always like a big time in a kid's life is to like go into a new year of school or whatever. So the fall feels really big, and it's always very like new. You make a lot of new memories, you meet new people and stuff like that. So whenever I get that feeling, it's like, ooh, all right, and I just kind of get transported back to
For sure.
like those days. And you know what else? Speaking of spook season, around the same time in 11th grade, around this time of year, around October, I went to my first ever concert like by myself. And it was with AJ, our buddy AJ.
That doesn't sound like we were by yourself.
Okay, like without my fucking parents. First like concert I ever went to that's like my concert, and like, I'm gonna do it. It was Balance and Composure. If you know that band, they were pretty big. They broke up. This band called Pedal, and this band called Super Heaven. I don't know.
TikTok.
So,
TikTok.
huh?
It's a TikTok.
So fucking Super Heaven. They have a couple songs blowing up on TikTok right now. The number one is the one that it's useless. I try, right? And it's like really like heavy. This is where the fuck is it? This fucking album cover, so I can show you. I'll just put it up. Boom, there it is.
The snake.
This is Jar by Super Heaven. They used to be called Daylight. I saw these motherfuckers in the Doylestown Senior Center. That was the first, the Doylestown Senior Center.
Yo, we at the concert at the senior center.
Yeah. It was that. It's that fucking.
That's awesome.
It was super cool. And so now they're
You saw Flatbush in the basement too, didn't you? Before they were big.
No, not Flatbush. I saw Jid. And it wasn't a basement. It's just like the venue was tiny. The venue was really tiny. It was.
You went to my college, so I understand.
It was the Middle East in Boston. It's like not a super big thing, but Jid played, and also I saw Earth Gang, and they were fucking amazing.
I love their song September.
Which one's that?
Do you remember? Thank you.
Not Earth Gang. Oh shit. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, no. Gotta love seeing people like small people in small venues.
Speaking of concerts, I did
oh yeah.
I saw John Mayer, which was out of this world. Fucking so cool.
Yeah.
And then like apparently when Ed Sheeran was on tour, like he just randomly asked John Mayer to perform for him, and then he's like, all right, return the favor to start off my tour. So I'm not the biggest Ed Sheeran fan ever, but he opened, and when I tell you, like, I'm not normally, I mean, yeah, I'm used to like age gaps at concerts. The amount of mothers that were at this concert was insane.
Was there like, could you, because Ed Sheeran's like, no, Ed Sheeran's kind of old too.
Yeah,
not as old as John Mayer.
No, but like old enough for like, you know, I feel like, I don't know how I would put that into words, but like, yeah, I feel like the kids that we knew in high school when we were in like middle school are like moms now, and like that's when Ed Sheeran was popping off. So like that's where like the families are happening. But yeah, they were like, I'm not the big fan of Ed Sheeran, but him just like, oh yeah, this dude's completely talented, coming out here on guitar, playing all these like.
Did he do his loop station thing?
John Mayer?
No, Ed Sheeran.
Oh no, I don't know. He did everything acoustic, which was pretty cool.
Shout out Ed Sheeran for doing that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the loop station,
yeah,
where you see people like. What do you think about those guys?
I saw Andrew Carson do that for like a Mr. West talent, so like that's where I kind of like level it at, where it's just like, yeah, it's cool.
It's a neat trick.
Yeah,
you know that's how it's like. It is cool. I hate when people are like, oh, it's so crazy. Like he does all the stuff. He like just loops it. Isn't that crazy? It's like,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, it's
neat,
a party
buddy.
trick. You know,
Yeah,
you do it for maybe a song and then get the fuck out of there.
Exactly.
But it was back onto that. Like John Mayer brought Ed Sheeran out for Tom Petty's Free Fallin', and like they were like doing it together. I was like, oh wow, dude, this is pretty cool. It took a little bit of mushrooms, made it enhance the experience just a little bit. Drove home after like an adult.
Have you heard that thing about Ed Sheeran? He's talking to Benny Blanco about so Benny Blanco and Ed Sheeran are writing a song together, and Benny Blanco's like making a point about how good of a songwriter and how great of a performer Ed Sheeran is, but they're backstage, they're writing the song, and then they call Ed Sheeran. They're like, "All right, Ed, you're on." He's like, "All right, Benny Blanco, like, I'll be right back." He runs out stage, does his show. 2 hours later, comes back. He's like, "All right, I figured out the pre-chorus for the song." And then, so Benny Blanco was saying he's so good at writing music and performing that he was able to do his 2-hour show and then write a song in his head while he was doing it.
Couldn't even. I'd be singing the song that I would be thinking in my head while.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking bonkers.
I mean, you do it. Like, I don't understand how people can play the guitar and then sing. Like, I'd be like, C, F sharp. Like,
it is really hard. I mean, obviously, like, it's something that I do and a lot of people do, and it doesn't feel like it's hard. It feels like, oh yeah, like everyone does it. And when like the parts really sync up, it works really well. But when they don't sync up, fuck, it's a bitch. You have to really.
Is it like all like rhythmically in your head? Like you're just like, are you able to like keep balance of like what you're singing and playing?
So sometimes it is like, it used to be for me that you just like, you had to have such good muscle memory. You would just go.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. Now I really try to, especially when it's something difficult, the only way for me to really do it is to understand the syncopation between my fingers or hand and my voice. So like down, like if I strum down, I know that on the upbeat is when the vocal comes. Like, so it's like, do you spill on yourself?
Oh, yeah. Like a toddler.
So yeah, I just kind of have to learn the balance between the two. But sometimes it's just like muscle memory and you just don't really think about it. And other times, like the way you have to play the guitar kind of lines up with the way you have to sing. So it doesn't hurt. I would say playing drums and singing at the same time is surprisingly easier for me, but that's because I'm more comfortable in drums.
But you still say you're the most confident on drums out of any instrument?
Definitely.
Because I feel like I never hear you on the drums anymore. I mean, I mean, that's... I mean, we got to go back when you're like doing your EP. You're definitely fucking doing the drums all the time, but...
Yeah, no, I don't really play the drums all that much, just because...
Like, I never see you... I guess because you have Noah around, and you're like, I've got this fucking...
murderer on the kit.
Crazy.
I don't... Just because I'm not doing it in rehearsals anymore, I guess I don't really... But drums are the most fun for me. They're what I'm most comfortable with. When we jam, like, if there's ever a jam session, and there's a question of, like, what do you want to play, David? I rarely will ever pick up a guitar because I'm not that great at guitar to jam with people. Drums is my number one. Bass is the second one for me. I've been digging playing the bass in jam sessions.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's a little more...
Slap at a bass.
Little more simplified in it's just like, all right, it's more like rhythmic and just some root notes and shit like that. But, yeah, so John Mayer and what's his face?
Ed
Piran. What was your favorite John Mayer song? Did you do a lot of old stuff or a lot of new stuff?
He did a mixture of everything. He ended with, I was going to call it Walter Mitty's Submarine Ride, but...
What's the fucking difference?
It's basically that, which I thought was a very interesting way to end it. But, dude,
that is a weird one to end on.
And that was his encore. Like, he did his last song, and then everyone cheered him back on stage, and he did...
Listen, I like that song, and I like John Mayer, too. But if he encored with that... Did he play Gravity?
Yes. Gravity.
He played Neon?
Dude, Neon was out of this world. It was so much fun.
Everyone should know this, but if there's a couple people who don't know it, please do yourself a favor and look up John Mayer Neon acoustic.
Crazy.
And you'll see him play the acoustic guitar like you've never seen anybody play before.
It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so Neon, Gravity. He did Gravity acoustic?
No, so he had like 4 sections, which was really interesting. Like him just coming out with this autistic guitar, this acoustic guitar, and then he did one song on the piano, which he's like obviously not a piano player, but it was cool. And then he went to a looping station, did it for like one song. I can't remember what he did it for. And then he had like an electric section, like where he was just like, you know, doing stuff with the electric car. It was really cool. Like everything he chose to do, it was like set up. He had no set either, which was cool. Like it was just John Mayer, you know, like.
I don't know how I feel about sets at shows.
Oh, dude. So on August 1st, I saw Weezer and Spoon open up for Weezer. And I don't know. I don't hate. Actually, no, I do like sets because every time I see a set, I'm like, oh, what's going to be? Because like when they're coming out, like you saw this like weird like loop, like little like curve thing and then a flat top. And then all of a sudden you see this, like on the curve thing, this big steering wheel popped up. And they're like, oh, their set is a car dashboard. And like their little ornaments like on top of the I'm like, that's cool. I know it sounds nerdy as shit, but like that was really cool.
That was
Weezer.
Fun.
It was Weezer. Like this is sick. And like the background was a big LCD screen that was like them like driving along. So it's like the summer road trip was behind them, and I'm like, this is fucking cool.
That is cool. When you're in a stadium level show like that, I think you have to do like a set. But the reason I really got turned off by sets is, first off, I've never really, all the bands I've seen and I'm like, oh my God, that was so good. None of it has ever involved a set. Mm-hmm. And then coincidentally enough, Khruangbin, one of my favorite bands ever, saw them at Firefly. No set at Firefly, just them on the stage. Goes down in my book as one of the best shows I've ever seen. Saw them again at the Greek Theater. They had a set, and it kind of took away from it.
A little mid?
I mean, the show was great.
Yeah.
They played really well, but they were on these, like, flying saucer stands. And, like, it kind of limited. Maybe it's just bad set design. Maybe if there was a better set, it could have been a better show. But, like, it limited them. They, like, were on their saucers, and I think the saucers might have moved, maybe. But when they were just on the stage at Firefly, Mark Spear and Laura Lisi did these like really, really, it wasn't even it was choreographed, but it was so simple. But they'd like play the song, it's all instrumental music. And then like on the exact same beat, they would both just turn into the middle and then walk, cross paths, and then at the same time turn back and face the audience. And it was so simple, but it was so mesmerizing. Mm-hmm. If you know Khruangbin's music, it's like, it's very hypnotic, like instrumental, chilled out kind of. It was just so cool. Yes, I don't really know if I fuck with like sets all that much. And like we saw Tame Impala, and Tame Impala's got this. It was like kind of cool. This giant like circle thing that like makes a big light show, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's like a light, but then it like lowers down and like gets low, and then it's just low for like no reason. How about the Orb in Vegas? Where you landed on that? Because that's sick.
Let me tell you,
that's fucking sick.
I don't think you could ever take any drugs going to concerts after that, because it would be too much.
I mean,
imagine me on fucking shrooms like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be fucking awesome.
It would be sick, but it's like you'd be like, all right, I know I'm in a giant orb right now.
No, it'd be fucking dope, dude. I think that'd be so cool. I think I'm going to Vegas soon. I haven't even seen the outside of it like all lit up. I think I'll fucking geek out. Yeah. Like, you know when it's like an eyeball and it's like looking around? I'm going to freak out when that.
Oh, dude.
I think it's the coolest fucking venue on the planet.
It's going to be nuts, because U2 just had their first concert there, and I saw like little like things on TikTok, and it just like they had like you know, the most stereotypical thing you could do, which is like a galaxy and like all the constellations behind it, but like it was just over you, like anywhere, like you could have nosebleeds, and like this is insane.
There is a section inside of it that it, like it's the block section. It's the cheapest tickets, but it's like, so there's the standing room where you're like near the stage and then you can see everything. And then there's the balcony and then there's like seats underneath the balcony.
No.
So you like can't see above you.
Fuck that.
So I don't know why the fuck you would buy those
No.
tickets. Like you're going to see it at the Sphere. Like,
yeah.
So I was thinking about it.
I just feel like you almost kind of lose the spectacle of the band. Like
Yes, which is why I think like fuck a band playing there, because a band like U2, they're just gonna be like, all right, throw some like really sick visuals up there, and people are gonna be like, wow, really cool. What needs to happen? EDM shows need to go off there. I know for a fact they're gonna do it. They're like
too many people will die.
No. Like Odessa,
dude.
I think what they should do is these EDM artists, like a big part of EDM shows is the light show and the pyrotechnics and the screen behind them, because it's just the DJ up there fucking pumping their arms. So the biggest spectacle is the visual aspect, and that's a huge part of the show. They need to like custom make their visuals for the Sphere.
It would be it would be game over.
Yeah, like they need to make it very specific to the Sphere, take into account the shape of the room, the entire thing. Yeah, there's bugs in here. And when they do that, it's gonna be the coolest shit fucking ever.
Oh,
I would go.
I'm
see
already
a show
thinking
there.
about it, and I'm getting hype. So,
who would you want to see there?
I mean, you said
you
it there.
like EDM.
Odessa would be
Odessa?
insane. I like as soon as Diplo puts up tickets, you know I'm going. Dead Mouse would be pretty cool.
Dead Mouse.
Like,
Okay.
think about this. Like,
You know who I would
Daft
go see
Punk
there?
reunion tour there would be like the world would lose their shit.
A Daft Punk reunion show at the Sphere would be super cool.
I think we'd see world peace that day.
Do they do DJ sets? That's what they do? It's like just a DJ set?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their 2007 live album, like that's the start of EDM, LCD or LED like spectacles. That's the picture of them like on the top of that pyramid.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were like the start of that.
I think Dead Mouse would be really cool
I
to
saw
see
Dead
there.
Mouse at Firefly, bro. Like I was like 16, 17 at the time. And I remember he had like a Renaissance painting of hell, and it was like a guy falling. It's like, remember when Squidward gets like sucked into that zone for the Flying Dutchman? So literally that, except like you just see like hell happening and like a person falling, and I was front row for it, and I'm like, this is, I'm here for music, not like to be scared.
Fuck did I see? I don't think I've seen Odessa in the distance at a festival, but there was some EDM show I got dragged to at like the TLA. Yeah, those EDM guys go off. They had like dancers come out and shit like that too. It was really, really cool.
Diplo brought off the Dallas Cowgirl, the
Dallas Cowboy,
the Dallas Cowgirl cheerleaders.
Diplo did?
Yeah, Diplo and Major Lazer. That concert was, to this day, I think one of the coolest ones I ever saw at Firefly, because it was the last concert, and so everyone just piled on the stage, and then he got into a giant, like, you know those blow-up balls?
Yeah.
And he ran
Crowd
on top
surfed?
of the crowd and was just going ham on top of everyone. This is the most crowd work I ever saw. He's like, all right, everyone, run to the left. And you just see like 10,000 people just run this way and then run that way.
That shit's really cool.
Yeah.
You ever seen that video of Katy Perry trying to crowd surf?
Oh, God.
Dude, she just gets fucking like tossed around. She's like upside down the whole time, and then she like falls, and then they kind of like pick her up. It's so fucked up. It's hilarious.
Have you ever crowd surfed? Like, not performing, but like have you ever like gone to a big concert?
Actually, it wasn't a big concert. It was the first concert I was Super Heaven, the one I saw them in the fucking senior center. All these people were like crowd surfing. And like I said, it was like my first concert, like without like my dad. And then I was like, AJ was like, yo, you want to crowd surf? And I was like, I guess. And he's like, all right. And then he just threw me up. And there's a photo of me on Balance and Composure's like old Instagram of me just like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fucking sick.
The first time I ever did it was like my first year at Firefly, and I was there with shout out Nick Bartle, and we were at some EDM we were at is Steve Aoki the guy who cakes you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at Steve Aoki, and we were all just, it was just me and Nick. We got separated from everyone else, and Nick's like, I'm going to crowd surf. And he just gets up and he disappears. And it's just me and a sea of random people. I'm like, fuck, like I just all crowd surf, and I'm like, get me up there, and I get up and I start crowd surfing me, and they push me to the front, and they drop me, and I land right next to Nick.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
What's happening?
The most I ever crowd surfed was at Run the Jewels, which is this, like, if you don't know Run the Jewels, they're like
That's
intense fucking like hard rap. And I crowd surfed to the very front, like I was way in the back, and I crowd surfed, and then they threw me over the edge. And usually, a lot of the times at venues, they'll kick you out.
They kick you they kick you to the back. They don't like kick you out, but
yeah. So like, so I get thrown over the edge, and I look at the security guard, and I think he's gonna kick me out. And I was like, "Am I good to go?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I just ran to the back, rinse and repeat. I did it like 4 fucking times. It was fucking great.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I cut the shit out of my arm on the fence. I still kind of have a scar from it. Right. Yeah.
Where?
All right, we should end it because we're almost
Real quick before you end it, where was Super Heaven the first time where you said you did like the backflip into like kneeing someone in the head or something? Isn't there a story of you like going to the edge and like moshing someone, like doing a...
that was not Super Heaven. That was some weird show at I forget what they're called. They're a lot of hardcore shows would happen at these the veteran places. What are they called? VAs? Something.
Vietnam?
Not Vietnam. Not Vietnam. I don't know. They're like veteran centers that people go to.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
A lot of the times hardcore shows, they'd rent those out and they would host shows there, and there'd be some like old veteran dude selling hot dogs for like $1.
I don't get it, but
oh, you come get your hot dogs. Hot dogs here. So I was at one of those, some random hardcore band that I like had never like seen before, and I like that like I was moshing and I like broke a table, and I tried to like jump off a table or something like that, like into a mosh pit, and I like kicked somebody in the face by accident.
How it goes. All right, on that note, bye.
Bye, everybody.